what advice would you give to keep teen athletes steroid free, and why have you chosen to be natural?
As far as why I chose to stay steroid free, that was just, I can't speak for anybody else. I can only talk about, my experience. And I think a lot of people use steroids for the wrong reasons. They use them because, not that there's a right reason to use it, but I feel like, I'm not going to judge other people's choices. If somebody wakes up and their dream is to be Mr. Olympia, and that's what they feel their calling is, and I'm not gonna hate on them for deciding to pursue that. But the wrong reason to do something like that is you're in the gym and your buddy who's been on juice puts on 15 pounds and he makes you feel insecure, and all of a sudden you go on juice just because you're trying to outdo him. That's pretty freaking stupid, in my opinion. Now, that said, again, as far as me, personally, I've just never felt that was something I was interested in doing. Once I discovered natural bodybuilding, it was kind of like, okay, I can get my competitive outlook, I can compete, I can push myself, and I don't have to take it. And also, I'm a practical guy too. I'm quite honestly pretty frugal, and I don't see the point in spending $20,000 or $30,000 a year on gear, which is, I don't want to accuse anybody, but this is what I've been told, that, from a few pros about what, they'll spend, 20, 30, 40 grand a year on something that, most likely I'm never going to get any kind of return on that investment, And so it's just, and it boils down to, it's also illegal. I mean, whether you agree with the legality of it or not, it is illegal. And we've seen guys go to jail over it. And that's just, that's not something I'm willing to put my family through. I'm not willing to risk my future for that. Again, my biggest thing is I love to compete. I do this because I love to push myself. I tell people, even if you told me I could never gain another ounce of muscle, what I have is I would still go into the gym every day because I love training. I love pushing myself. I love trying to beat what I did yesterday. And same thing with competing. I'm just looking to push myself, take myself to the next level. Whether or not that means I win or I end up in fifth, that's kind of a side effect to just me beating the me from last year or yesterday or whatever it is. And so I've never really paid attention to what other people are doing, and oh my God, what if this person shows up? What if that person shows up? And same thing with steroids. It's just I can get my competitive outlet. I can have fun. I can push myself, and I never felt the need to do any of those things. And so I'm not gonna. I mean, I've had a bunch of people say, "Well, aren't you interested in what would happen if you did it?" Then, not really, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just something I've never been interested in. So maybe I feel differently in 15 years, and I wake up and something's different, and I can't say how I'm going to feel then. But right now I can tell you that I really have no interest in doing it, and I don't see that changing. But I don't dog on somebody who does. It's a personal choice, and I just think if you choose to do it, then compete in untested shows. If you choose to not, then compete in the tested shows. So bodybuilding is kind of one of the sports where you actually get a choice. In the baseball or football or whatever it is, they don't have a choice. I can understand the attractiveness of cheating. I mean, if you're a baseball player and you're the backup utility infielder, and the guy in front of you is making $20 million a year, and you're making $500,000, and he's on the sauce, I mean, that's a pretty big incentive to cheat. I mean, I can sit here and say that my morals are above that, but again, when you're talking about putting that kind of money into your family, it changes things. But with bodybuilding, there's just not that money. Natural bodybuilding, if you win the biggest natural show, you might get like 10 grand. So as long as if you're going to choose to take steroids, that's fine. Just compete in your, untested shows. But man, the fact that there's very little money and there's very little reason, and you have a choice. If you compete in tested shows, you're a piece of crap. So as long as somebody doesn't do that, I really don't have a problem with it.
Do you feel now that you're near reaching your maximum natural potential?
That's a good question. In reality, I've been lifting, over 10 years, and so yeah, I'm probably getting close to being there. in terms of muscle mass wise. I still feel like my physique will change as I get older. You know, you as you age, you tend to store fat differently. It moves from subcutaneous more to visceral, and you get a harder look to your physique. But no, I mean, I still think I could add a few pounds. You know, it's just, I don't think you ever really, you know, I don't think it's like it goes up and then it stops and you can never gain another ounce of muscle. I just think it gets less and less and less every year. You know, first year it might be 20, and then 10, then 5, then 2.5, then 1.25, and then, you know, then a half pound, then a quarter pound. So I don't think it ever necessarily stops. It just gets less and less and less and less every year. And so, you know, you kind of approach this curve where you can never, you know, you might not be seeing, you know, visible gains. But, you know, again, that used to bother me, the fact that I wasn't seeing gains all the time. But now it's just, again, I find other ways to motivate myself in terms of, you know, now it's, you know, I'm pursuing the 600-pound squat. That's like my unicorn for this year. I want to really get that, you know, and so that's getting close. And so I find ways to motivate myself. But, I mean, you know, in reality, I'd like to say that I'd love to sit here and say, you know, no, I'm going to go out and I'm going to put 20 pounds on in a year and all this stuff. And I mean, it's just not a reasonable expectation to have. So I'm going to go out and I'm just going to I'm going to kick ass in the gym. I'm going to do the best I can. And, you know, whatever that nets me is what it nets me. And I'm not really going to, you know, beat myself up over, you know, being a certain amount or weighing a certain amount on stage.
All right. Some people say you eat when you're hungry. Your body will tell you when you're hungry, when you need nutrients. Others say you need to eat so much a day, end of, even if you're not hungry. You know, which do you agree with?
Well, the whole idea that your hunger will tell you when you need nutrients is wrong. I mean, if that was the case, then half the society wouldn't be obese, right? I mean, you know, that's what people don't understand is hunger is much more than a physiological issue. It's not, when you're hungry, it's not necessarily your body telling you that you need nutrients. Hunger has emotional, psychological, sociological inputs. There's just a lot of different things, and it's not just a physiological thing. I mean, people look at people who binge eat. I mean, they're ravenously hungry, but does their body really need nutrients? No, but they just eat out of control because it's a psychological thing. And so this idea that hunger is going to tell you when you need to eat, I mean, if that was the case, I'd be eating 8,000 calories a day because I have a pretty ravenous hunger and I'm never really full. And at the same time, that's why, you know, you shouldn't eat till you stuff yourself either. I mean, there's really no substitution for kind of knowing what you're eating, protein, carb, fat-wise, tracking that over time and seeing how your body responds. I mean, if you